Alright, let's get this show on the road.
Paris. City of love, romance, and dreams. So they say. I used to say it too. But ever since that day, the day of the murder, I've always associated my beloved Paris with death. I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
Collard, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon. No photos, so leave your gear at home. He asked for you personally. Don't ask me why. Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes, but unless you humor them, they don't go away. Here I was, the palace of the Media King and the Ice Queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life forever.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico Collard. I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
Madame Carchon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation. Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's business affairs, and I care even less. I certainly have no intention of watching him pore over yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty? You're too kind, madame.
Ah, the talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Carchon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please. But I do not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father? He never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death. So tragic. I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame. That was no cat. My God! What? Monsieur Carchon!
He's dead. I must call the police. You'd better stay here.
There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen. She would have been top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. one of the most important men in Europe, murdered. And here was I, Nico Coulard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation? It was a no-brainer.
Alright, so we're given our initial instructions here. So far it seems that, like I mentioned in the introduction, it's pretty classic point-and-click adventure. We have a briefcase where we're going to be collecting evidence, I'd assume. I looked at the diary before, and the diary looks very similar to the one in The Longest Journey. It basically sums up what's happened so far, and it's not spoken by the character. You just have to read it. So, unless something shows up in the diary that doesn't happen on screen, I probably won't read it because it would just be a little bit redundant. There'll be a question mark if you want to get hints, but I'll try to make do without them. And then just the spanner will take you to the game settings. Alright, so an important man in Europe has been murdered right in front of us, practically, and since we're a reporter, might as well see if we can get to the bottom of it.
The bookcase was filled with obscure first editions.
Okay. Rare books.
A bust of Pierre Cauchon, humble servant of La France.
I don't know if that's an actual historical figure or not. I am not well versed in European history. Let's see. Well, looking at the body is obvious, so let's just finish looking around here first.
Pierre Cauchon again. His eyes seemed to follow me around the room.
Oh, the busts are of him. The dead guy. Oh, okay. Has a sense of self-importance, I guess.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job.
Or a job by a person with glass cutters.
I didn't want to cut myself and leave blood on the glass. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to keep my DNA to myself.
Let's have a look outside.
The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window. He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him.
Very convenient ladder, I must say. Alright, I think that's everything in the room. They do the nice thing of having little flashy points on everything that you can interact with, so that you don't have to sit there and pixel hunt across the screen to find something interesting. So I can appreciate that.
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before, and written about him. The costume killer. At least that's what I'd called him.
Ugh, creepy. Couldn't we like close his eyes or something?
It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down.
It was one heck of a punch.
I closed his eyes.
Ah.
It was the least I could do for the poor fellow.
Ah, very good. Okay. A little respect for the dead here. Alright.
Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend.
A little snarky as our main heroine. Reminds me a little bit of April.
In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now.
Dun dun dun. So we have our first inventory item. Well, actually, first two, I should say. And so if we need to put those on something we can. Just drag and drop.
Carchon had been shot.
No. Yep, that looks pretty obvious. I can't tell if that's an entry or an exit wound. I'm not in forensics. My guess is probably the entry wound. Probably means he was facing the mime when the mime shot him, which is pretty horrendous. You know, I can't think of many other more nasty things than seeing a mime being the last thing you ever see in life. Ugh, it just gives me the creeps. All right. I don't think we...
It was a boat ticket stamped
Oh, okay.
Bateau de la Conciergerie. When I was a little girl, Papa used to take me on the Bateau Mouche as a treat.
Okay, it's a boating ticket. Okay, so if you right-click on the items, you can look at them. As opposed to left-click, which is to use them. Okay, I got it. Alright, I think we can head out now.
The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them.
Nice tapestry.
A medieval pageant. Original, no doubt. The tapestry must have cost a fortune.
The guy's wealthy. Alright, we came from there, and that's another door. Okay, so let's continue looking out here first.
A Louis XIV table with an antique cloth. Imelda had taste. But hey, with a husband that rich, taste is easy.
And paper. Oh, napkin.
I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful.
It's the adventurer's intuition. This might be useful later.
Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole.
Oh, well, we got something small and thin.
Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff.
Nico likes to talk to herself in the third person.
Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming.
Well, there you go. I can also add the reason that we're in an adventure game, and so we're supposed to take everything not nailed to the floor. Okay, let's see. Painting.
Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that.
You're so petty. Let's see what else we got here. See what she says about the hair clip.
It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact.
Okay, same thing.
The cloth was embroidered with an unusual symbol.
Looks like a Celtic cross.
A key. Maybe a safe key.
Okay. See what's below the painting.
It was a tube of acrylic paint. French ultramarine. Just the color I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
Yeah, we're robbing a widow just after her husband was shot. Isn't that lovely? Oh, should I do the interview or should I go to the other room first? Let's go to the other room first. I don't think there's a run thing here. So we just have to let the screen pan over. Here we go.
A fine Baroque door. It would look great in my apartment.
She's just gonna pick up everything and just move it to her place at this point.
The door was locked.
Dope. Let's see, that's a safe key, so I doubt that's going to work in there. Alright, we'll say some words to the grieving widow here.
Imelda looked shocked, but still every bit as hostile. Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
Okay, let's see. Who is that?
How did your husband know my father?
I have no idea.
You didn't know him? Thierry Collard?
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
Ouch.
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
Oof. It's going to be a sparring match the whole way through here. Alright, anything different if we click again?
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
He never told you anything.
No, and frankly, I preferred it that way.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines.
Just because I am a journalist.
Don't patronize me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
Open-minded, isn't she? Ah, looks like we get a little choice here. Do we want to play nice girl or snarky girl? Well, she still may have some information for us that might be useful, so maybe we don't want to completely chew her out yet.
Yes, that's why I do this job.
You do it to see your name in print.
As if. My editor gets the byline, I just do the work.
Well, don't expect my sympathy.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
'Cause we're nice and we have a little halo around our head.
Your husband invited me here today because he needed me. I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already, I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come.
You really do have a moral sense, don't you? I trust so few people. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Thank you. I promise you won't regret this.
Okay. Got the key to go into Pierre's room. There it is.
Now we were getting somewhere.
In we go. Nice. Little too old-fashioned for my taste, but still nice.
Even the light switch looked impressive.
Gold-plated light switch. Let's flip it on.
I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already.
Oh, this is an adventure game. If you turn on the lights, there's probably like some secret message in like luminescent ink on the walls or something.
The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie?
Ha!
The painting was attached firmly to the wall.
We cannot take it home and bring it back to your place, Nico. I'm sorry.
Aha! There was a small button hidden in the picture frame.
Actually, it was large and looked fairly obvious.
There was the very faintest of clicks.
Oh, okay. We need to find out what that did. Ah, okay.
Behind the picture was a safe.
Woo-ha-ha! We have a key. Who needs combination when you have a key?
There was a strange stone cylinder in the safe. In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past carrying.
Ah, we can justify anything we do. Okay, so we need ink and paper to see what this thing is going to print out for us.
The sofa was antique. For one horrible moment, I had an image of a naked Carchon wriggling around on it with a young journalist. Oh.
Hey, that's all you, Nico. That's not me. I like that all the narration is done in the past tense, because then it sounds even more like you're reading a novel.
This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression, though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why.
Let's see. I think just here?
As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision.
Wow. It's mathematical.
My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Carchon had known my father. They really must have been friends.
Okay, Nico, was your father by the name of Hans Vorarlberg? Maybe? Boy, that'd be creepy. Okay, we'll take the elephant or mammoth.
I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda. It was a sheet of blotting paper in a leather holder. Its cracked surface looked ancient, reminded me of its owner. The in-tray, like everything else in this place, was beautiful. One day I was going to have an in-tray like that, even if I had to sell my apartment to pay for it.
Well, if you sold your apartment, how would you put the tray in there?
I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it.
Okay.
I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank.
Ah, okay. Well, let's see what we can do about this. We don't have ink, but we have paint. So what if we put the paint on there?
Putting the paint straight on the cylinder would be too messy. The paint would go everywhere.
Oh, when does practicality come into adventure games? Okay, we'll do it here.
The paint would have just soaked into the blotting paper. But the idea was good.
She's subtly telling me, okay, you're close, but not quite.
No.
Okay. Sorry. It's the blotting paper would just soak it up. What if we put it here on here first?
The blotter was flat already. Rolling the cylinder across it would achieve nothing.
Okay. This on that?
I smeared the paint all over the cloth.
Ah.
When I do messy, I really like to put my heart into it. I hoped this was going to help. They don't make lace like that anymore.
Looks like we have a little paint left still.
The paint had been squeezed from the tube.
Oh, all of it? Well, why are we keeping it then? That's interesting. Okay, let's put this down.
Rubbing the cloth over the blotting paper would make it all blue. I needed to come up with something slightly cleverer.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let's put this on the roll.
I wiped the paint-covered cloth over the surface of the stone cylinder. It took me right back to art class at school. And Maurice, my gorgeous art teacher. Such a shame they had to fire him. Ah well, concentrate, Nico, concentrate.
Alright, now let's put this down.
Genius. The roller and the paint worked just as I planned. But what did it say?